Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fearless and Free TV and today's Wonder Women Wednesday installation. I'm super excited to bring my guest on today. She's going to be talking about bioenergetics and quantum healing. Before I bring her on, I just want to remind you, if you haven't yet, to jump on over to my website at victoriareynolds.com/free and pick up my free book, Rise Up. This is a book I wrote in almost about a year ago. It's all about what's happening in the earth realm right now. It's about the Great Awakening, the spiritual revolution, and the ascension. And it has an entire chapter dedicated to terminology. So for all of those that are newbies to the Great Awakening and to spiritual awakening, this chapter I think you'll find incredibly helpful for making sense of a lot of the terms that are being scattered around the internet right now. And if you're like me, 10 years ago when I first had my awakening, I had no idea what some of these words were. And that's the reason I put this book together. So head on over there. And then I've got some other programs and services over there too. I've got 4 other books I've written and some programs as well. So victoriareynolds.com/free. And then I'm going to bring in my guest. Cynthia is a traditional naturopath with a master's in bioenergetics. Her love of energy medicine has led to the Rasha quantum technology designed to enable your dormant DNA to expand consciousness. Cynthia enjoys all things holistic, including creating a skincare line called Good Karma Skincare, which I'm going to be checking out later too, and a book she wrote titled The Blue Sheep Movement. Interesting title. I want to know about that. It's a collection of stories from her practice and family life, urging people to expand their thinking when it comes to choosing allopathic medical solutions. She is currently an ambassador for the Rasha and lives in northern Arizona. So let's bring in Cynthia. Good morning, Cynthia. How are you?
Good morning, Victoria. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. And your skin looks amazing, might I say.
Thank you. And I do wish I lived in northern Arizona. I live in northern Minnesota, which is why I am the color skin I have. I'm not the son of Arizona.
You know what? I could swear I read Minnesota. That's what my eyes saw. Did Arizona come out my mouth?
It did, but you know what? That's my state. My heart is in that state and New Mexico. That whole area is where I just come alive. And here I am in Minnesota, which I do love. But yeah, so I think it's not a mistake that you said that.
That's funny. So are you going to love Minnesota in about a month when it's cold and snowing and windy?
You know, the nice part about that, we have a lovely home, and you burrow in, and then you do art and you cook and you do things that when you live in a warm climate, you're outside, you're hiking. I'm fishing in the summer, I'm out and about, but you're in and you get to enjoy different things. So, and then a nice long vacation to somewhere warm doesn't hurt, but it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Different way.
Yeah,
Different way
I don't think I can I can't handle being cooped up for very long. That's why I chose California because, sorry, my computer's doing something funky. Hang on. It's a good thing I can edit this out. Okay. Yeah, it just popped up a window and I was like, wait, where'd Cynthia go? So yeah, that's why I chose California, is because I can be outside most of the time, but it's not very nice outside right now. When it's really gloomy like this, I don't want to go outside. I need to be someplace where the sun is most of the time. And well, I grew up in Montana.
I remember that.
That's why I asked you about Minnesota, because I know what it's like to be in the cold for 9 months of the year.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. Not my favorite thing, but it works for some people. So I'm happy that it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about you. How did you grow up? What is it that drew you to natural medicine? And, let's just talk a little bit about your journey, about who you are at your core and how you ended up on this path.
All right. Well, I grew up where I live now in northern Minnesota, in a small town, much smaller when I grew up. And a normal kid, and out off my bike all day long. And those are the days where we had penny candy. I don't know if you remember those days, and you're probably not as old as, well, I know you're not as old as I am. And so we'd go to our little local market and we'd buy penny candy. So I always had a stash of candy on hand. It was before they talked about nutrition, whatever, and it was just fun, right? And then anytime I sneezed or got sick, I was brought to the doctor and I was put on penicillin. Penicillin was pretty much the antibiotic at the time, the only one. And I had it a lot. So between that and sugar, all of a sudden, every fall I'd get a cough, which would lead to mostly bronchitis, sometimes pneumonia. I mean, every summer, every fall in early winter. And it's still to this day, it depends on the frequency that I get it and how I'm taking care of myself, because you got to stay on top of it. And when I graduated from college, I had had enough. I'd had enough of it. And so I'm like, what is going on? And I knew medicine wasn't the answer. Even as a kid, I had that voice in my head. Sometimes it literally was a voice. Sometimes it was internal knowing. There were a couple times I guess you'd call it astral traveled. I didn't know what it was. Scared me to pieces because I thought I was crazy, and they'd lock me up in the state institution that was outside of our house or our community. So I didn't talk about it, but it was very God-centered, not knowing God was different than what churches thought it was. And I also had a great appreciation for natural, which I don't know why, but I did. Started into that on my own. My mom kind of got involved with me, and one thing led to another, and I found natural remedies and people that actually were called naturopaths that told me things. I'm like, how did you know that? I'm like, how did you know my thyroid was low? And by using this machine, and was just amazed. And so I ended up later in life going back to school for that, just for my own benefit. I didn't know what I was going to do with it because I was making my income in the graphic arts world. And then I eventually just switched over and went in the total of the natural holistic way as a profession.
Okay, so you ended up opening your own
Practice.
practice. Okay.
Yep, in Minneapolis. And the bioenergetic equipment that I had was from Zyto. There's many different kinds. Some people, you can hold copper rods. Mine, you put your hand on a hand cradle, and it put frequencies into you. And the frequencies kind of bounced off and took measurements of where your different organs were, your different systems were, and could give me a pattern of stress. Because as you know, we can't work in disease. We can't heal. Those are illegal, which I'm just like, are you serious? Yes, it's illegal to do. If you're natural, you can only do that with medicine. That's one of the laws we work under. So as I talk today, I will not use those words. And so we work in dis-ease, which is really, I believe, what disease is, and how to balance the body and bring it back to health with using natural substances, homeopathy. And I love energy medicine, frequency, because that's what we are. We're made up of frequency. And if everything was working at its optimal level, frequency, then you would be healthy. So let's restore that.
Right. So for me, the word dis-ease means, as you said, dis-ease, which actually means being out of a state of ease.
So it's
so
that
our natural state is a state of ease. So all disease is being out of our natural state of ease. So then what we're really trying to do is figuring out how to restore our natural state.
And there are many ways. There's not one supplement, one thing. There's just many, many ways. Exactly.
So BioEnergetics, that's a machine?
I went to school for that. That was the most fascinating thing. Well, we have machines that read our, frequencies and see where our level is at. but it's like, then what do you do with that information? So this school taught us that when this shows up, this could mean this, and when this, this correlates with this, and all sorts of just wonderful, wonderful ideology. I can't even say that word. It's too early in the morning, I guess. That just made sense and works. So it's how to see the body in a different way versus allopathic, which is traditional medicine.
Okay. And that makes sense. And one of the things that I've been saying for years is that we are energy having a human experience.
Totally.
So if we can remember that we're energy, then let's treat that.
I mean, people, you can think about your food and your supplements. When you take those and you want the nourishment, where's that nourishment coming from? It's coming from the energy. It's coming from the frequency of that. That's what you're taking in, really. So you can break down everything is just frequency.
Okay, got it. So the frequency of how food is grown too. If it's grown organically, it's going to have a different frequency than food that's grown with chemicals.
Exactly.
Eating an animal, for example, an animal that's had a compassionate upbringing is going to be different than an animal that's had a stressful upbringing, because their energy becomes part of our own energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just think it through in every phase of your life.
So anything that we put on our body, if it has experienced dis-ease, that dis-ease becomes part of our own.
It's complicated. I know. There's just a chain. Exactly. And our surroundings.
I've kind of known that for a few years, but it's really important for people to understand that that's when it comes down to an energetic, the basic energetic level, beyond the fact that organic food just tastes better, which is tastes substantially better, on an energy level, why it's so much better for us.
Exactly.
Okay.
True.
So this bioenergetics is really interesting. Now, do you still have your practice?
No, when I moved back to my hometown, because I lived in Minneapolis when I had my practice, and I started skincare on the side just for fun, I'm just doing this for fun. And then it kind of caught on. We got some financing that let's just go for it, and go national, not knowing what the heck I was taking on, and, just enjoying the products. And it became too much. And I had to do that. That ended up taking over my existence for about 5 years. And I know I moved up here. That's all I was doing. And then I thought, this does not bring me joy. The products bring me joy, but running a company and doing everything did not bring me joy. So I'm like, okay, time to go. So someone else took it over, which is I help them, on the side and whatever I can, because I want them to be very successful. They're wonderful products, just not me. So I was going to open my practice again, and COVID hit, and our building actually shut down for a while that I was going to start in. And I'm like, and I was enjoying being at home. I gotta say, I enjoyed being at home. And I thought, I think there's going to be another way I can help people. And I don't think I need to see people one-on-one and be by myself or one other person in an office. I don't want to do that, because now I'm going to find my joy, right? And so I decided, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to look into more quantum equipment and how we can help people on a more mass scale. And so I went back to learning, and my head still spins with everything I've learned, and I'd love to share it. And yeah, so no, I'm not seeing clients one-on-one, but I will, I'll get emails. If someone needs help with supplements, I have a great dispensary I can hook them up with, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to help people. It's not about earning an income that way. I just want to be of assistance truly at this point in time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's part of the whole new earth reality we're creating, where it's not driven by money. Now, money is an essential part of the building blocks for creating a foundation for the new earth reality we're creating, because it is still presently part of our collective human experience. But the difference is that
Mhm.
we're doing the work that we do because it brings us joy and because our heart is in it. And because our heart is in it, we're doing it for joy. Money becomes a natural part of that flow.
And it
Right?
comes to
That do what you
you.
love and the money will follow.
Yes.
Understanding that, but
Yes.
we're not doing it for the money. That's
Yes.
what the difference is. We're doing it because we love it, and then the money just flows naturally, as opposed to
Yes.
doing it for the money and doing something we don't even like for
Exactly.
the money. That's old
Mhm.
world, old reality. That
Mhm.
doesn't work anymore. And that's why so many of us are saying, that's why so many people are saying, take this job and shove it, because they're realizing you don't have to do work that you don't like
Mhm.
just to bring in a paycheck. Let's rethink this entire thing. So you got that message.
I got it loud and clear. And a couple years before that, when I actually published my book, The Blue Sheep Movement, which was, what is my tagline? It's leave the herd behind to find your path to wellness. And this was before COVID, before, I think it was 2018, it was published, because I saw this this trend, and you get clients, I've tried everything. I've tried everything. And I'm like, okay, to me, that's setting yourself up for failure, because no one can try everything. And especially in the natural world, you have so many different solutions, and you got to keep knocking on doors and using your intuition to see what's right, because it could be an adjustment, it could be a supplement, it could be energy. There's so many different things that can work for you. So, and my goal was to help people that really were stuck in the allopathic medical route, but their insides were going, I think there's something else. I think I can do something else. I don't want to be on this the rest of my life. I think there's something else, just to open their eyes, see why we put medicine up on the pedestal versus natural, what happened in the history, and then stories from my practice of great successes and some things that didn't work because of choices. So it's really, following, as you know, your inner guidance and turning that on and going for it,
Absolutely. And not
So,
everything works for every person. That was a really
right.
hard thing for me to grasp. 10 years ago,
Mhm.
when I first had my spiritual awakening, I was like, this is what's really funny. My way is the only way, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
the only system anybody needs is mind, because mind works so well. It's the transcendence process I teach, and it does work phenomenally well for the people it's intended to work for. And it took me a
Yes.
while to understand that. I was like, well, nobody needs anything except for mine, which is, then I kind of started to realize, and then I started being told, well, there are all these different modalities out there. Find the coaches that work for you, find the teachers that work for you, find the modalities that work for you. So in the beginning, I was resistant, because I was like, well, this is what cracks me up. My way is the only way. Whenever anybody says their way is the only way, it's kind of like,
Run,
run,
run.
right? Right? That means that, yeah. And so I started to understand, oh, I need some of this and some, and I have, like you, I've tried so many different things over the years. And because I've tried so many different things, and the way the human body seems to work is that it starts to, not resistance, but it's like it gets too accustomed to one particular thing.
Hmm.
It's better to like switch it out every once in a while. Switch out skincare products once in a while, because your skin doesn't get too used to one product. Switch out vitamins every once in a while, so your body doesn't get too accustomed to one particular vitamin. And so one of the things I was shown a couple of months ago is that no one is ever given all of the answers, so that we have to work together.
Right.
And so this is and so what works for one person might not work for another person.
Absolutely.
And to be open to trying all of these different things. And then there's going to be one thing that says, oh my gosh, my body loves this. Fantastic. But it
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily mean it's the answer for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. Absolutely. I totally agree. Hmm.
Yeah. And so that's like, even with those medications, it's like you got to get off the medications and then find the things that are going to help your body. And
Right.
for some people, traditional medicine does have the answers for
Hmm.
them for what their body needs.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a place for many things, and it's all
Mhm.
about choice and how you want
And,
to.
and listening to your own voice and listening to your own body.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're on the same page there. That's for sure. Mm-hmm.
So this book that you wrote, that's an interesting title. What does that mean?
You know, because there are so many people, there were, the medical community is just this, do this, do this, do this. I was having a conversation with she's an RN, but she left medical because she said, I can't, my conscience can't do that because I know there's better ways and ways to get healthy. She goes, I couldn't even tell people to take vitamin C. I mean, I was not allowed to do that in a hospital setting. I couldn't. And I go, I know. And she said, so she went the natural route and took her, left that paycheck behind, but followed her heart. And so the white sheep are, I looked at the doctors and you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, it's very systematic, things you have to do. It follows insurance guidelines, you have to do this. And then you have the natural people, like you said, if everyone takes this supplement, you're going to be, that's what everyone needs to take. No, there's not just one way that way either. There's many different ways. So don't be white or black, be blue, be purple. I picked blue because I want you to go down a different route. Follow your, be true blue to yourself, follow your gut, follow what's right for you. And, I've tried a lot of things that I thought would be good and they're okay. And then I find some really great winners and I'll share things that I like, but it doesn't mean that it's great for everyone. And it's really to find your own path and find your own balance, but always use your inner guidance, your inner God-given sense, because as we talked earlier, God isn't out there. God is here. And I use the term God, whether you want universe, divine creator, collective consciousness, whatever that spirit, that all-encompassing power that we have, which I think is God's source, that's where I find my comfort, is in us. Mm-hmm. It's in our heart. It's what we are made of. And when we tap into that knowing and that how powerful we really are, which is what the Great Awakening is, it's amazing. And that's when miracles happen and you can change your life.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's the divine wisdom that exists within every one of us, the infinite intelligence that exists within every one of us. Well, as I said earlier, divine love through me makes all things possible. That's my mantra, knowing that it is all one with all of us, with all that is. And so I love the blue sheep makes so much sense. It's like you're not the white sheep doctors and you're not the black sheep. I'm against everything, right?
Yeah.
So
find that middle ground, man.
Yeah, I love that. And so, and this book has a bunch of stories.
It has a lot of stories from my practice.
So it's like a beginner's guide to
holistic health care and to think outside the box. I've had a lot of people, a lot of feedback from, I had no idea. And I'm thinking, good, that's why it's here. Ways I was able to help my dad when he was in the hospital, ways that, clients just little changes they made and how hugely it affected them. And then why didn't my doctor tell me that? Because it's not their job. Their job is to prescribe medicine. Mm-hmm. That is their job. That's all they can use. God bless the people. There are more and more that are coming out that can talk about supplements and do talk about supplements, but it is still far and few in between. And those doctors are not seen in the mainstream. You have to go search them out, no matter how big and important in my world and powerful they are. You have to search them out and get that information for yourself.
Yeah, right? And a lot of times doctors will, in my case with like my pediatrician, for example, mm-hmm. They're not allowed to give nutrition advice, but they will say, hey, I suggest you meet with a nutritionist to find out what's missing, mm-hmm. Go see a nutritionist and have your allergy test done to see what it is that you might be allergic to. So there are doctors out there who they're not allowed to talk about nutrition, but they can refer you to a nutritionist.
You know what? This is really interesting. Doctors won't do it, and I don't know why. There's hidden food allergies. that the regular doctor tests don't pick up. And I believe they're called IgG tests. And some of them are saliva, but most of them are blood. You can go to specific, some nurses will do it, and some natural doctors will do it and send away for your hidden food allergies. And it's amazing what will come up. And if you start looking at those food groups, you can totally change your health. It's crazy. And
Oh,
doctors
interesting.
will not give you that test. It's different than the allergy test they give you.
Oh, okay. So it's called
Yeah.
a hidden food allergy
It's
test?
hidden food allergy, and I believe it's IgG is what the
Okay.
test is. So it's just one other thing. And
Yeah.
one thing I have to point out with natural medicine that I found fascinating is because people are so, give me a pill for this. Okay, I don't want to take this cholesterol medicine, so what pill can I take? And I'm like, it's not about taking a pharmaceutical and substituting it with something else that's a pill. In some cases it is effective, but it's about going to the core and fixing that, repairing your body, giving your body what it needs to repair itself, really,
Right.
and then getting out of that whole cycle. So, it is a different shift that way. And then taking it further, when I got involved with the Rasha, I'm like, how can I simplify it? Because I do take a lot of supplements because I am an imperfect person and I will go out for pizza and I will do things that, I eat pretty clean at home and have a good kitchen, but I splurge and I do things. And so I take extra green, spirulina, whatever it takes, because I need that.
Hmm.
But what if we can get to the point where it's the frequency that is food for our soul and our bodies, because that's what we're getting out of this stuff, right?
Right.
So I went on the search with how can we step it up in this new quantum reality. I know there's quantum equipment out there. People keep talking about the med beds that are to come, but I'm like, I knew that there's something out there now. I knew, and I found it. And my head was spinning with every conversation and every session we had and learning. And it's called the Rasha. And I'd love to tell your audience about the Rasha because it's quantum technology that is here now, where all things are possible. Because remember, I can't
Right.
say
There's
healing, right?
certain terms that are considered. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can use your imagination, right?
Right.
So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay,
I would
because
love to hear
I
all
I
about
I
this.
want your feedback too, because so much of this was new to me. I'm like, oh my goodness. So my first question is, okay, why is this different? And Miss Maddie, who's just a genius, said, because it's base 12, not base 10. And I'm like, it's about the mathematics. So our whole system currently, we're in base 10, and this is base 12. And, I'll back it up one more step. Dr. Jerry Rivera Tejo is the brilliant mind who brought this back from spirit, from God, during his death experience. Nothing near death about it. Death
Mhm.
experience. He was brought back to bring this to the world. It took him 6 years after that experience to truly let it all sink in, because it was so mind-bending, even when you're on the other side, that he's took 6 years going to every spiritual and religious practice throughout the world just to see what they're doing, what's going on in the ashrams and the Buddhist temples and, the mountains of Tibet, what's going on, brought it back. And this is base 12, perpetual regeneration world. So the best way, I love Marina Jacobi. She said the same thing. Now, in the quantum world, which is base 12, 1 plus 1 equals 3, because you have one item, you have another item, you put them together, you make a new item, 3. You're constantly regenerating and creating more and creating more and creating more. In our current system, where we're base 10, 1 plus 1 equals 2.
Mm-hmm.
They merge, they go away, they're consumed and become 2. So you are always self-consuming. So even our bodies are base 10 because we're consuming calories to keep going. We consume. Whereas base 12 is just recreating, creating. And I believe that is the ascension our planet is going for, and that is what the ascension we are going for, so we can become divine creators and create this new world.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're always then in perpetuity in a sense,
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
is this the I think I remember hearing about this from someone else. It was like the Tesla technology is 369, but then you're taking it to 36912, so it's continually
Absolutely.
recycling. Okay.
And Dr. Jerry wouldn't tell us. He was just snickered and said, "You really think Tesla stopped at 9?" And I'm like, "Oh, probably something else that was hidden from us, right?" And he just kind of,
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Okay, yep, okay, got it. So
So
yes.
that's interesting. So about a year ago, because I put myself in a Merkaba every day, or almost every day, and I activate a 36912 Merkaba
Wonderful.
so that it's continually cycling
Right.
back, because 12 is the numerology of 3, so it goes back to 3, so it's 36912. And so
Oh,
I
I've got
instantly got
goosebumps.
that when somebody said base 12. I'm like, oh yeah, it's 3. Okay, got it.
I love it. I love it. Oh, you just gave me such goosebumps when you were talking about that. You're
And
brilliant.
so someone did talk to me about this machine about a year ago, and I'm so excited because I'm like, I want to learn more. I want to know more about this machine.
Well,
It's a
I'm going to
machine,
send
right?
you an invite. And actually, anyone can reach out to me and I can hook you up with an invite. Now, I am just an ambassador for their company. I love it. And anything I can do to help you, use my name so they know I'm spreading the word. That's what I'm doing because I just love them. But on Saturdays, every Saturday morning, they do they call it an upgrade, a DNA upgrade. And so there's this free session online for 15 minutes.
Oh wow.
Because what it is, it's frequency. You can do it. I've been to an office where I had a in office session, and I've had several that were distance sessions. So it's wearing headphones so you can get the scalar frequency, scalar plasma frequency that's coming at you. And when you're in session with there is the Rasha actual device where you will get the energy field that you will become part of also. So it's a little different, but because of quantum entanglement, when you are doing the distance sessions, it still works.
Right.
And
Because energy is energy. It can move through
energy is
anything.
energy.
Right.
It is mind bending, and some people go, okay, but I've seen great things happen both times. And as many people have said, God does not make junk DNA. As they say, well, we've got junk DNA. No, they
That
may be
yeah.
dormant. They're not junk. Let's wake them up. And that's
That's
what
right.
part of this does. It's about expanding your consciousness. It's about, it takes the morphogenetic fields that are around every cell, every system, every organ of your body, about everything of your being, and it expands your consciousness using scalar energy, which is the energy of God. So you're being propelled forward and expanding is the best way to put it. That kind of makes
That's
sense.
fantastic. So you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'll do when this becomes um, permanent on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
I want to get all of the site. Well, you're going to give me your email address. What's your email address again?
It's CYN at CynthiaRansom.com.
Okay. So if people email you, then you will send them an invitation to this thing on Saturday mornings.
Yes.
Well, count me in.
Yes, it'll either come from me or I'll send a big group of names directly to my friends at the Rasha and say, we want everyone in. They want
Okay.
to experience this. And Dr. Jerry is doing more and more and more. There's information on the website, therasha.com. There's I'll be happy to help people. I would like to find more ambassadors or not ambassadors, excuse me, guardians that have this equipment. It is pricey. I hope
Yeah.
to become a guardian at some point in time because there's nothing in our 5-state area. I had to go to close to Miami, Florida for my experience.
No, is he outside of Sedona?
Reno.
Is that?
He's in Reno,
Oh, okay.
but they
Yeah,
do
so
have
I
some.
started hearing about this machine about a year ago, and I'm
Yes.
envisioning this machine being in these new healing centers that people are
Yes.
going to start
That's
creating. Yeah.
what I want to do. Exactly. But you're right about Sedona. I know there's at least one in Sedona. There's several in California, Victoria.
Yeah, I
I
think
can
there's one
check
in
to
San
see this.
Diego.
Yep. And I can't remember. I don't remember all the locations, but they are worldwide too. And there are people that have them just at home for their family and friends. I'm like, okay,
If you happen
what?
to have $45,000 laying around,
Yeah, exactly. Then
they're
go for
expensive.
it. But you know what? There are plenty of people that do have money.
Yeah.
And then you never know when your situation is going to change. So we got to get the word out there because people don't have to wait to have the miracles that they want to have happen. It can happen now. Interesting thing was after I think my second session was the next morning, and I had the first session was in an office, and then the second one was distance. And I'm sitting at my counter in my kitchen, and in my peripheral vision on my left was just that water wavy pattern. It was like, oh, I'm breaking down the reality. I'm seeing past, the hologram. I'm like, this is really interesting. And then later on, I had, was it the following day or a few days later, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, part of my face is gone. Like I could see one eye and then I could just see through everything else. I'm like, oh, and I blink and I come back. Oh, now my mouth is gone. Oh, this is interesting. And I'm like, I'm just a fractal in this whole, hologram of a world that we have, that, we all are. And so I started seeing beyond, and it's pretty fascinating. So that's what happened.
Interesting.
The unique things that happen to me, but everyone, from physical changes to mental changes to quantum, visual changes, and everything is possible.
That's fantastic. Well, I definitely want to take advantage of that for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I'm at this point in my life where I like experimenting with new things. I did it for a long time when my kids were small. There was a part of me that was afraid of trying anything new, just because moms go into like hyper protection when their kids are small, and so I don't want anything bad to happen to me because I don't want my kids to have a bad experience because something bad happened to me. There was that kind of fear. I don't live in that fear world anymore. Now I understand that these are all gifts that are being given to us from spirit to be able to expand our consciousness, and also to activate what scientists call junk DNA, which again we know is really a DNA that science doesn't understand.
Right.
So it's dormant DNA, or it's DNA that it's like spiritual DNA. So of course science doesn't recognize it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so now we're at this place in our collective reality where enough people are starting to understand there's so much more to the human experience than we've ever been able to grasp before.
We're going to be learning till the day we decide to leave this planet in this meat suit that we have. So yeah, it's so exciting. Such an exciting, brilliant time in your life. It is.
That we get to see beyond the constructs of what have in the past has been told. This is how things are, and this is how we need to think. And so many of us are now saying, you know what? I'm going to take all those boxes and burn them. I don't like any of the boxes. I don't like any of the labels. I'm a free spirit, and I want to see what's available and accessible to me to have the best possible human experience, as energy having a human experience, as divine love having a human experience.
Yes.
How can I make this human experience as fantastic and expansive as possible?
Exactly. I love that. So true. So true. It just, and the changes physically that I've seen for people, and I've heard about, and for animals, you can use this for animals. Oh my God, breaks. I love animals. It's amazing. It truly is. And whether it's in children, oh my gosh, it is life changing.
Wow.
So, and it's here now, people. It's here now.
Very, very exciting. Well, if I had the not if, when I have the financial capacity,
You
I
and me
would like
both.
to have one of these machines and be able to do free treatments for people.
We'll have connected holistic centers, I think, are all around the country.
I think they're going to be all over the world, and people will have access to this technology freely. Well, I do have to run. I have another I'm a very busy day today.
Excellent.
It has been amazing talking to you and learning all about this new technology and what you've been up to in the world. And for everyone who's watching, please reach out to Cynthia and get more information. One, her skin looks fantastic, don't you think? So I would like to look at the skincare. And the other things that she's doing in the world and this new Rasha technology that I think is going to change the face of wellness.
Yes, absolutely.
We're not focusing on sickness anymore. Now we're focusing on wellness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, and you said you had a closing.
Here's a quick story to lift everyone up. It's happened to me. I did put it in I figured out a way to get in the book because it's so important. So this was 14 years ago when we had a little Pomeranian, and Miss Izzy was probably 3-4 pounds. She was just, 4 or 5 months old. And I lived in Minneapolis on a pretty quiet street that where, a block down was a very busy street. I'm at my door. Someone was there. I was talking to him. My little puppy got out and she took off towards the busy street. Happy, happy, happy. We both took off after her, but you cannot catch a dog in joy, a little puppy that's running. You can't catch him. So she is probably now 40, 50 feet from the busy street, not going to stop. I stopped and said from my heart, said a prayer in my head and asked God to protect her. The second my prayer was done, she did a U-turn and started running back to me. And I'm like, yes, come here, Izzy. And something in my head went, look up. Why? What did she see? Why did she turn around? I looked up. There was an angel that was 6 stories tall. He was gigantic, and he had blonde hair down to his shoulders. His head was turned to the side. His features were just perfect and chiseled like you'd see in a marble statue from olden days. Blue robe down to the ground, white angel wings. So he was blocking the street, standing there. So what my dog was seeing was running into a wall, and she turned around.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So God is good. God is real. It comes from here. It was not said out loud because I knew the power. It was heartfelt and just like that.
Wow,
So
that's
the
amazing.
angels, unseen and seen, be with you all.
Yes, thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
And there are hosts of angels watching out for all of us, and we just need to remember that they're there.
Yes, absolutely. Amen to that.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
So for everyone here, remember to hold your light so high that others can't help but see their own light. And together we will create a world of peace, harmony, and prosperity and freedom for all. Mm-hmm. And as always, and until next time, remember to get bold, be fearless, and live free.
Thank you.